Monty Dewey, and this is The Other Side of the Bell.
Hello, and welcome to The Other Side of the Bell, a podcast dedicated to everything trumpet, brought to you by Bob Reeves Brass. We'll help you take your trumpet playing to the next level. I'm John Snell, and I'll be your host for this episode. Joining me today is trumpeter Alexandra Ridout. We'll get to Alex's interview here in a moment after a word from our sponsor and some trumpet news. Today's episode is brought to you by Bob Reeves Brass, who share your passion for creating extraordinary music. You know that feeling when your instrument just clicks and the music flows effortlessly? That's what Bob Reeves Brass has been helping customers do since 1968. We've helped brass musicians like you achieve their dreams by ensuring their equipment is always in perfect harmony. We know you want to immerse yourself in the art of music making, and we're here to remove any barriers between you and your creative vision. Bob Reeves Brass is truly your one-stop shop for everything you need to fuel your passion and create music that touches hearts and souls. So go ahead, let us help you elevate your sound to new heights. Don't wait another moment to elevate your musical journey with Bob Reeves Brass. Connect with us at bobreeves.com, shoot us an email at info@bobreeves.com, and keep up with the latest news on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Bob Reeves Brass. Embrace your passion for music and let Bob Reeves Brass be your partner in creating the extraordinary. I want to give a huge thank you to Dr. Rob Waugh, who hosted the William Adam Trumpet Festival a few weeks ago in Clarksville, Tennessee at Austin Peay University. It was a fabulous event. So many great speakers and performers. Steve Patrick performed with a big band, Anson Banks, Dr. Carl Sievers, Greg Wing, Charlie Davis was there, Bob Slack, and so many others. It was a wonderful, wonderful event, as always. This was their 11th one. It's such an honor to take part of the event. And I had the honor of speaking, giving a talk on mouthpieces and mindset and all kinds of fun things that we talked about. So thank you to everyone who showed up for my talk at Adam Fest. The next one next year will be in Southern Illinois. Dr. Ricky Spears is hosting that one. So it's never too early to plan and put that on your calendar. I don't think they've set the dates yet, but it's usually summertime and it's going to be in Southern Illinois. I can tell, for those of you who watch on YouTube, I am not in the shop. I'm in my hotel room in London right now. I just came from Sweden at the BIBA, the Bleking Academy in southern Sweden, in the beautiful town of Karlskrona. We had a great time there. Marcus Pedersen and his team put on a wonderful academy for young brass players and for adults as well. Mark Inouye was there, Mark David from the Royal Academy, Tim Higgins from San Francisco, who just won Chicago Symphony, principal trombonist, and many others. It is just a stacked brass faculty. I was there with Lasse Lindgren and Ulven Mutes, and I had a modest little setup. Whatever I could bring in my carry-on, about a dozen or 2 dozen mouthpieces, not the normal 350 that we normally have, but it was great to be there. Also on my trip, we went by the metal spinner for Ulven Mutes and got to see his shop. I'm so jealous. He has so much space and so many great machines, but I got to see how the Ulven Mutes are made. And Michael's father, he inherited the business from his father, and his father was the metal spinner for Ulven Mutes for many years. So it's great to see that history and legacy going on. So check out our Instagram because I have some photos and some videos of the factory there in the middle of nowhere, Sweden. It's a beautiful little town, little village. So great trip. Now I'm doing some non-trumpet things. All of my trumpet travel and exhibitions are over for a few months. And so I'm going to do some non-trumpet stuff here in London. Oh, well deserved. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, speaking of London, our guest today, Alexandra Ridout, was originally from London. She's now in New York. And what an amazing interview. I caught up with her before I left. And without further ado, let's get right to my interview with Alexandra Ridout. UK-born multi-award winner Alexandra Ridout is a trumpeter, bandleader, composer, and educator based in Harlem, New York City. At only 26 years old, Alexandra is already one of the most talented young trumpet players on the international scene. Since winning the UK's prestigious BBC Young Jazz Musician Award in 2016, she was catapulted into a busy, high profile career and has been captivating audiences ever since. Her awards include the British Jazz Awards Rising Star in 2018, Keep an Eye International Jazz Awards Best Soloist in 2023, and second place at the esteemed Carmine Caruso International Jazz Trumpet Competition. Most recently, she won the Next Jazz Legacy 2025 award through New Music USA. Alexandra is a busy performer with her own outstanding bands of various sizes in leading venues in New York, London, and beyond. She has performed in jazz festivals worldwide, including Montreux, the North Sea Jazz Festival, and Unity at the Lincoln Center. Alex was a showcase performer, composer in the International Festival of New Trumpet Music, or FONT, with her trio in New York in 2022. The festival is curated by world-famous jazz trumpeter Dave Douglas, who she performed with in Font in 2024 and recorded an album with in his new project Alloy in 2025. Here's my interview with Alexandra Ridout. I am so excited to have on the other side of the bell, all the way from New York City, Alexandra Ridout. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, especially with your crazy schedule. And I want to you're on because you're working on a project with Dave Douglas and David Awadumi, correct?
Yeah.
That's going to come out later this summer. I want to plug that up front, but we'll get to that.
Sure.
It's just as a teaser. And quick note, we're going to have both Daves on future episodes as well for those listening. But let's talk about you, Alex, and let's start right from the beginning. I know you've come from a musical family, but how did you end up on trumpet?
Yeah, so I grew up, in a very musical family. My parents both musicians, and both my brothers are also musicians. But I don't know, I was drawn to the trumpet when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I think I maybe saw my brother playing in a band and there was a trumpet and it was really loud. But I also really liked the Hello Dolly, that Louis Armstrong song. So yeah, I kind of was drawn to the trumpet, which was not something anyone in my family knew anything about. So yeah.
I was going to say, your father's a guitarist, right?
Yep.
And what kind of like session guitar or jazz or
jazz? Yeah, I mean he does a bunch of different things, but yeah, my parents are both jazz musicians. My mom plays saxophone. Yeah.
So you just all you know is music.
Totally. Yeah.
From before you could walk, you're surrounded by music.
Essentially, no escape. But yeah, just growing up listening to all the classic jazz records that I still listen to now. So
and yeah. that Louis Armstrong's sound spoke to you. So what happened? You say, Dad, I want to play, Mom and Dad, I want to play trumpet, or?
Yeah, I did. I just said I wanted to play trumpet, but I didn't have my front teeth yet, so I had to wait for my front teeth to grow before I was allowed to start. And then I just started having lessons at my school. That was it, really.
So elementary school.
Yeah, I think I was like 9 maybe when I started. Yeah.
Wow. And already into private instruction. What kind of stuff were you doing? I mean, were you already learning jazz and changes and things, or?
I guess I actually did do a lot of classical. Like I started off playing in like the local music center and the ensemble, like the brass band, all that kind of stuff. But then, slowly but surely, my dad and my mom were introducing me to jazz, and I was always listening to it. And then they would see like, oh, maybe we can play, like just try playing a little, just improvise a little bit, that kind of thing. So yeah, I started off classical, and I was quite serious about that actually, like for a while until I was about 18. I was really doing classical a lot, and then I was kind of doing both for a few years. From when I was like 14, I started doing there's like in the UK pre-college type thing on a Saturday. I started doing that for jazz and classical when I was 14. So I was not sure which one I was going to go for at that point,
So all in. Tell us about the classical stuff. I mean, did you have aspirations to be in like the London Symphony or BBC Symphony, something like that?
Yeah,
or like a soloist, or? Yeah.
I don't know really. I think at that age I was thinking it would be cool to play in an orchestra, and I liked doing that, and I liked, I was playing in a really good orchestra at the Royal Academy of Music, the junior department, and I actually went to a specialist music high school for my last 2 years, from when I was age 16 to 18. And that orchestra was great too. I think by that point though, I was starting to be like, actually, I think I like jazz a bit more. It was always like, what am I? Because I wanted to do both, and I thought maybe I could be in an orchestra during the day and do jazz gigs at night, but it's too hard. It's kind of impossible. I mean, yeah. So I'm glad I went with the jazz route. Yeah.
But there's also deeper discussion there about growing up and choosing one or the other. Like you successfully did both up until 18 years old.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what was your practicing like? I mean, was practicing a difficult for you? Because as a lot of young folks, or did you enjoy doing it?
I was practicing a lot, and I think when I was from about 14 to 18, I had quite a sort of intense practice schedule. I would practice. A lot of it is connected. Like, I still do all of the routines type stuff that all of the classical players do, like jazz players. We all do it as well, of course. So I was doing that, but I was also playing orchestral excerpts and learning a piece. And then I would spend time learning, like transcribing, I basically did not do very well in my academics. I think from when I went to this music specialist school, I just kind of stopped caring about anything else, and I was just practicing. I loved practicing, and I loved, I was transcribing a lot, but I also really loved like learning Haydn trumpet concerto, and yeah, I got a lot out of doing all of that, and I had some really good teachers, so I was very lucky. But it was just music, and there were some times when people would ask me like, so what are your hobbies? I'm like, so it's still kind of the case, but it's like, I don't really do anything else.
Would you literally just play all day, transcribe and
every day? Yeah, I was just playing all day. Like, I really didn't do much else. Yeah.
Let's talk about your teachers.
Sure.
Who did you study with privately, especially during this time, and then we'll get into your later studies.
Yeah.
And what were they like? What did you learn from them?
I learned a lot. I think when I was that age in high school, there's a great classical trumpet teacher I had at my school called Tony Cross. I haven't even I should maybe get back in touch with it. It's like I'm remembering all the stuff now. It's like, wow. He was a great classical trumpet teacher. I had Steve Waterman was my jazz trumpet teacher. I had some lessons with Tom Challenger about like jazz. It was kind of like jazz piano, just jazz harmony. And at this junior department at the Royal Academy, I had Gareth Lecraine. He was running the... these are all UK people, so people might not know who they are, but check them out for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I love doing this, because it puts folks on their radar.
Totally, yeah. So Gareth was amazing. That was like some pretty life-changing experience, because it was one combo. We had 3 hours together, jazz, this was the afternoon jazz experience for me. The morning was all classical and then the afternoon was jazz, and it was 3 hours, and we were just playing music that I loved and I still play and love. Yeah, he was amazing. I had Nick Smart, who also is the head of jazz at the Royal Academy of Music, which I later went to study at the Royal Academy of Music. So I had him. It's all quite connected, Yeah, those are the names that kind of off the top of my head I can think of. I had Kit Downs as well. He's a piano player, but you learn about jazz theory and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of people.
So you were surrounded by, sounds like, several amazing mentors.
Totally. Yeah, I was lucky. Definitely.
Yeah, and that combined with just being all in, practicing all day.
I mean, yeah.
That's why I'm glad, love talking to folks like yourself, young players, especially because, people see your rise to stardom, so to speak, and think, oh, she must have been born with a trumpet and was just, the natural. I hate the word
Right,
natural. She was
yeah,
natural.
yeah.
It's like, no, you're
Trumpet's
just
way too hard for anyone to be
yeah,
natural.
you're like discounting the hours and hours and sacrifices that you made from, a very young age when a
Yep.
lot of us were playing Mario Kart or doing something
Yeah,
else.
exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk about your jazz inspirations. I mean, obviously, Satchmo from a very young age. Who did you develop interest in terms of who you were transcribing and that sort of thing?
So my main I was transcribing a ton of Freddie Hubbard when I was in that. I remember it so well. I can take myself right back there. Like when I was at this music high school, I was just transcribing. I remember doing One Finger Snap for the first time, and I was obsessed with Freddie Hubbard. Clifford Brown, I was transcribing a lot. Lou Mitchell, lots of people. I loved Ambrose as well from quite a young age, but yeah, there's just so many trumpet players. But at the time, Freddie Hubbard's number one, and I think still for me, I still am he's probably number one. I think that era of Freddie, the Empyrean Isles album, that was my favorite with the One Finger Snap, and I think it probably still is, to be honest. But I was really getting into it at that point, and Miles Davis on Pinocchio, that kind of almost like the 60s jazz. I was really, really obsessed with that. Yeah.
So the process of transcription, would it take you, especially something like a Freddie solo? How long would it take you?
It's a good question. I never really thought about it. I think when it's still the same now. It's if I really go for it and kind of commit to doing it, I'm pretty fast. I have perfect pitch, so I can find the pitches quite quickly, but then getting inside the way that Freddie plays takes some time. So maybe I would spend a week getting it together, and then I would just keep. I still practice those transcriptions, and actually, I teach when I teach trumpet players they ask me how do I get that kind of articulation in the high range when I'm improvising? I just transcribe some Freddie Hubbard, and then we do it all together, and they can do it, So I'm still advocating the same stuff that I was doing at that age, Yeah, I think maybe safely, if I'm transcribing something, it's a week. I spend a week learning it, and then forevermore playing it.
Yeah. So what does that look like? So you transcribe it, and then you just shed it until it's under your fingers, or?
It depends. Yeah. Recently when I'm transcribing, I really try to emulate the person and really get inside their essence. That's something that young people you think, oh, I've got it now, I can just do it. You want to get the essence of their playing, and you really want, I will play along to the recording, playing the transcription, and then I'll also play with the transcription, which is something I've started doing recently. So playing in that style with the recording, but not necessarily playing the exact transcription, which I think has been cool, because then it's like a transition into improvising rather than because obviously, I'm sure we all know, you can take a phrase and you put it through the keys, and I'll do all that stuff as well, but this is something I've started doing recently. It's like I've been transcribing Sonny Rollins and just playing the transcription, playing parts of the transcription, playing with the transcription, so it feels natural, Yeah, just there's different ways you can mess around with it, and I think, to be honest, I just do the thing that I enjoy, the thing that I find most fun to do. I start doing it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is, I don't know. I usually end up getting there sort of quite naturally, I guess.
Fascinating. And there's no end to what you can transcribe and turn into exercises and things to extend your vocabulary.
Exactly.
When you were, you were doing a lot of classical as well, like you said, during high school. Would you play with your parents and your family, jam with them, and?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I still do, to be honest. Whenever we'd have a free moment, we'll play some tunes. And I think especially at that age, I was getting I wasn't getting a ton of input from my parents. They didn't want to be they definitely didn't want to force us to be musicians, and they didn't want to be overbearing in that regard. But, sometimes they did have things that would be helpful. So yeah, I would play with my dad and he would help me with harmony basically. And then my mom as well, like, yeah, the same kind of thing. Usually harmony. They don't know anything about brass, which at first was kind of frustrating because I would be like, I literally can't play anymore. Like, that took them a while to understand. I was like, no, I can't just keep playing and playing.
So, yeah, the pedagogy part of the brass playing, but the musicals, the jazz side, the theory side, they can certainly help you with,
sure.
and helpful to have a guitar player to be able to lay down chords.
Yeah, my dad's a guitarist, and then my little brother plays drums. So
so you guys have your own combo.
Pretty much, amazing. Yeah. And my older brother's a sax player as well. So yeah, we're it's yeah.
So during high school, correct, is when you won the BBC Young Musician Jazz Award.
Yes.
What was that? What was that experience like?
Feels like so long ago now.
Well, I mean, we're coming up on 10 years.
I know,
so,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I auditioned on a whim, not thinking. It was very much like, oh, I guess I'll see what happens. In fact, it was Gareth Lacrane, the teacher I had at the junior academy department thing, told us all to apply. He was like, you guys should all apply. It was pretty new. It only happened once before, the Jazz Award. And yeah, just, it really, that was a time when I really started practicing a lot, because I was like, okay, like, this is a big deal. I'm going to really try and put my best foot forward, And I had to put together a set of music, and you had to play like an original composition. Yeah. And I learned a lot about, I think the main thing I learned was how to just like deal with nerves, because it was so scary. And I think that was the first time I really felt like, okay, I'm going to use this and like have that help me rather than like get in the way. So yeah, it was great. And I enjoyed playing with the rhythm section and playing my composition. It took me a while before I could watch it back though, because it's so hard to watch. It's like cringe watching yourself at that age. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I have pictures and videos of myself, and this is a teenager that I cringe at, but I'm not on a world stage winning a major award.
Yeah, there's also just like a lot of interviews and stuff. I'm like, oh,
but
God.
It's the same. Yeah, still the same. We're still teenagers, But so you said something interesting there about recognizing your nerves and then using them. Can you, for your benefit, can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I think everyone who's ever performed knows what it's like to be nervous, and I think I've done performances before, and I got nervous, and maybe it like got in the way somehow. Just often physical with the trumpet, like you could have a dry mouth or just various weird physical things that happen that you have no control over. But I definitely, I kind of like, it was quite a mental game, because I'm watching all the other contestants and oh, they sound amazing. And I was like one of the younger ones. And yeah, I just felt like you have to get over that feeling of like, should I be doing this? Am I like good enough? All those kind of feelings. I kind of just I told myself, I was like, okay, like, either you get nervous and that's going to get in the way, or you use it as like adrenaline. So I guess what I did was like, I'm trying to remember now, it was a long time ago, but I really focused on okay, I'm going to listen to the rhythm section, I'm going to try and have a really nice sound, and the rest will, and I just really like made sure I was like, okay, I'm going to try and be in the music as much as I possibly can. And I still do that for sure, because that's really the best way to like channel your nerves, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time I really experienced doing that, and I felt like it actually worked, So yeah, I think it was more of like a mental kind of like, okay, nothing to worry about. Like, let me use this nervous energy as a way to really focus, So I felt pretty focused. Like if it was one of those concerts where you kind of close your eyes and you open it and you're like, oh, I didn't know everyone was here,
Oh, that's wonderful advice. And I mean, there's folks that are, 2-3 times your age that are still working on nerves.
I mean, I'm still working on it, but it was definitely the first like real, like, oh, like this is how to do it, reframe
it as energy and put it to good use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what happened after you won the awards? I mean, you said you were on TV, you were interviewed. I mean, did you just go out and start working? Did
Yeah, pretty much.
you start getting calls?
Yeah, it was like, well, I got a lot of band leader gigs from, I was 17 when I won it. And yeah, I had a band, I had a quintet, and we were all very, very young. I think I was the oldest in the band. And
Mhm.
like my band, so two of my friends who now live in New York, they were in my band and they were 15 when they were in the band. And yeah, I just got like, I never had to try to get a gig. I got like, all of the venues just got in touch with me and were like, yeah, we want to have you play because it's a name, it looks good for them. So that was great. I had to learn how to be a band leader very quickly.
Mhm.
I wrote a lot of my own music and, it was great. Like I was really lucky. I got sort of launched into that very quickly. And the odd kind of like sort of more prestigious type things would come out of the fact that it was the BBC. But mostly it was like jazz festivals and venues reaching out, which, it was definitely a peak in terms of that. Now I have to really send the emails. I have to do the
Yeah.
work now.
So yeah, I mean, did you have management, or were you a
No,
high
I
school
didn't.
kid answering the phone and
Yeah.
booking and
Well, I had
negotiating
like
wages and things? I mean,
kind of, yeah. It was like my parents helped me for sure, because they understand how the jazz industry works. But
mhm.
yeah, they kind of like hooked me up with some sort of management, but it didn't really. They were a classical organization, so they didn't really know any of the jazz venues, and I think that I got a couple of things out of that, but it was basically, yeah, I didn't really have. I was organizing it. I'd get emails, and then I would like ask my parents, what should I say? And then I would reply, and then we'd all come and do the gig, and all our parents would be there, like because none of us could drive. It was yeah, it was like we were all very young. We were very young.
What an experience, though. So, I mean, considering you were working at such a young age, was it a difficult choice to go on and get college degrees, or were you ready to
Yeah,
just jump into the workforce?
I don't know. Yeah, I think when I got to college, it was like I'd already sort of done that stuff, so I was kind of ready to like you know well, actually what I did was I was really busy like my first 2 years at studying in London at the Royal Academy. um I had a gig like every night, basically, not just my own stuff but like other stuff, which was great, but I was doing everything. I said yes to everything, and I was actually doing a lot of stuff I didn't particularly love.
Hmm.
And I kind of felt like I didn't have time to practice at all. Like it was one of those weird, like, okay, maybe I need to, which I think everyone has at some point. It's okay. Either like I just keep doing all these gigs, and I was kind of saving up money, which was good as well. But I kind of made the decision. I always wanted to go to the US to do jazz basically in the US, for many reasons. And I actually, when I was 16, this is a little bit of a side note, but when I was 16, I did the Brubeck Institute summer camp, it was
Hmm.
called, I think.
That's out here in California, right?
It
Yeah,
is, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was in Stockton,
Hmm.
California. And that was my first flight I ever took. It was,
Seriously?
yeah, yeah,
You- Wow, never
yeah.
been on an airplane, and then you fly to the U.S.
Yeah, it was like an 11-hour flight, and I got to the US, and it was all paid for through the National Youth Jazz Orchestra in the UK. It was me and one other guy from the UK. So it's pretty crazy. Like, it was a pretty crazy thing to do, and I was six. It was like just before the competition.
Hmm.
But that was when I was, getting very serious about jazz. And I remember that summer camp really sort of opened my eyes to like, okay, jazz in America is a different thing. Like, there's history here, and everyone's amazing. Basically,
Hmm.
like, I was like, oh wow, like there's so many people my age that are like obsessed with jazz, like I am. So that was like a real kind of, okay, I want to go back at some point, and I made a decision to do an exchange year. So my third year of college was in Miami at Frost School of Music,
Hmm.
because it was the only place in the US that we could do an exchange. So I was like, yep, that's good enough. I'll take it. So yeah, I was busy in my first, second year of college, very busy, not enough time to practice. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Miami. I legally can't work in the US for the first year. So it was like going from every single gig to like no gigs, you know. So I really just like, I'm going to keep my head down, I'm going to practice. And yeah, I needed that intense kind of practice thing a bit later, you know, like, because I did it as a teenager, and then I wanted to do it again, you know.
Just bear down and focus on your studies. And Miami certainly known for their music scene. What was it like in Miami, being in the US for a long stint, or longer stint than?
It was amazing. I mean, it was absolutely terrifying, but it was amazing, you know. Like, I think doing the exchange is so much scarier than like, because I did my master's in New York, and I came, and that felt so easy because I did this exchange. So yeah, you come in and like everyone's already got their friends and the people they play with, so you're just like a random person, just random, like no one. It's really scary actually. But it was great. I had Brian Lynch as my trumpet teacher. He was fantastic. And yeah, just it was pretty like shocking at first, because I was like, wow, okay, this is so different to the Royal Academy, where we'd have, you know, like 2, maybe 3 classes a week. It was pretty relaxed. Not relaxed, but like we didn't have like a 9 a.m. every day kind of thing. Whereas Miami, it was like all day, every day. We had, you know, like big band was 4 times a week. And then we had like a trumpet group. We had trumpet lessons. We had practice partners. Like very like, you're here, you're going to get your money's worth. Like, you know, which I loved that. Like, I think, you know, if I'd done that for 4 years, it might not have been what I would have wanted to do. But for 1 year, it was amazing. Like, I practiced so much, and I like, you know, there was something like 20 or 25 trumpet players, and like everyone could play, you know, which I like. The academy's so small, it was just one of every instrument each year. So yeah.
So you were the only jazz trumpet player?
There was actually one other in my year, but that was pretty like unusual, and they didn't have a trumpet in like the year above or something, you know. So
interesting. Yeah. So to go to that, one of 25,
and everyone's great, and I was like, oh, okay.
and also being on Miami, you were probably exposed to a lot of Latin music down there.
Yeah, totally. Does that
start having an influence on you or on your playing and compositions?
Definitely. Yeah, so there's a lot of Cuban musicians, and I had Daphnis Prieto, who's an amazing Cuban drummer. I was in his ensemble the whole time. So yeah, I learned a ton about that, and it was just like, okay, there's a whole world of music I don't know, and musicians I've never even heard of. And yeah, it was just really cool. It was terrifying, but really cool.
And the humidity as well.
That took some getting used to. Yeah,
don't get that much.
UK, yeah, not the same.
90 degrees and 85% humidity. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
So then, take us into the Manhattan. What made you decide to choose? Well, I mean, New York seems like an obvious choice for a jazz player, but Manhattan School and deciding to go for your master's. Take us through that.
Sure. Yeah. So like, came back from Miami during COVID, so that I actually had my year cut short by about a month or 2. And then I did my 4th year in London, sort of online, sort of in person. And I was so desperate to just get back. I was like, oh, I really want to, like, I always wanted to go to New York for sure, you know, somehow, but didn't know how really. Yeah, it's really hard to you can't just like move to America when you know, you have to have a visa and a reason, you know. So I didn't really like look into it particularly. I kind of went on a whim. I was doing this like online thing that Ingrid Jensen was running, and she's the dean at Manhattan School of Music for jazz. And I kind of knew her a little bit, but like we'd met a couple times. But I was like doing this this ensemble that she was running online during COVID, and I kind of just got in touch with her. So, yeah, thinking of maybe applying to go to MSM, because that was the place I really wanted to go, because she was the trumpet teacher, and I didn't really want to go somewhere it's a huge sacrifice, and it's a lot of like paperwork and money. So I was like, okay, that I want to do the thing I want to do. So I kind of got in touch with her, and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about applying. Like, yeah, let me know if you have any like advice. And then she was like, because I was kind of thinking for the year after, because I think I missed the deadline, and she was like, send in your audition video like now, basically. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll try. And it was all online, so I didn't have to go there. Like, I just did it all because it was COVID. Like, I did everything online, and then I got a full scholarship, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to do this. Because it was like, if I didn't get full scholarship, I couldn't have afforded it. It was, it's a lot of money, and it was a lot of money even with the scholarship. So yeah, it was, I felt very lucky. It was like, okay, this worked out the best it could have. Yeah.
So what was that timeline between applying or that email and actually starting school? I mean, it had to have been fairly quick then.
Yeah, it was like, God, I think, yeah, I sent the email around like, I guess like December or November. And then I was there in August. So yeah.
Later that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So had you been to New York when you came out, when you were in Miami, or
I did. I visited. Yeah, when I was living in Miami, I made sure to go a couple times. And yeah, I wanted to go more actually, but I would have gone again, but I had to leave early because of COVID. But yeah, like I just loved it. I was like, yeah, I would. But I only visited twice. I didn't really spend a long time. When I did visit as well, I was only just like, it was only for a few days, but I just kind of knew, and all the musicians that I've met that were from New York, I was just thought were the best. So yeah, I kind of loved it, and as soon as I moved there, I knew that it was the right choice. Yeah.
You felt kind of at home.
Totally, yeah. Even though I didn't know, I literally didn't know anyone. I think I knew there was one person that I knew, and we hadn't seen each other for a really long time, but yeah, it's like, just like, okay, I've got to make something happen here, but it's good character building. Yeah.
I love it. Good. Yeah, that's right. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how did you get on the scene in New York then? I mean, was it through the schooling, your connection at school, or, outside of school, jam sessions?
Bit of everything, yeah. The same as what you would imagine, like I had Ingred my whole time. Okay. She was an amazing teacher, and yeah, she gave me a lot of advice, so that was really helpful in meeting people and getting places. But she got me like a few things. Like it was amazing. Like I got to sub with Artemis, the band that she plays in, pretty early on, so that was a really nice, really great of her to give to me. But also, yeah, I met Dana Stevens there. He was teaching me, and he booked me in his band. So when I really think about it, it's like, yeah, there was definitely, if I hadn't gone to MSM, it would have been not the same experience. But yeah, Miguel Zenon as well. Like, there's a few people I can think of, okay, they booked me for this, and it's because of MSM. And you meet people. I met a lot of my peers there, and people that I still play with for sure. But also, yeah, just going out to gigs. I think you have to be out all, like, most nights. You got to meet people. Jam sessions, yep, they're great, but also the places I met people that I'm playing with a lot now was like at someone's apartment or in a rehearsal studio. Like you meet someone and then, oh, you want to play a session tomorrow? Yeah, and I think actually now it's like, I think about it, I basically play a session like most days still. It's like you just do that when you live in New York, and it's great. And now in my apartment, it's got to the point now where we have a music room and a piano and drums, and we just had a session today. It's so funny. Like I literally, we had a session this morning, and then I went and did another session, and now I'm doing this. So it's like, it's definitely just like never ending. It's like, yeah.
That's great, and very inspiring to hear that there's that much work out there, and the connection. And I think that it's often overlooked part of going to school, university, and graduate programs. So many folks, me included, we'd lock ourselves in the practice room and practice and practice and practice, which is great, and that's one of the aspects of going to college. But yeah, a lot of us do that, at the expense of networking and making connections and doing people's projects. Yeah,
you have to do it. And I think, like, or in a way, like, the practice is the easy part, like, because you know what to do. It's like, okay, I can sit and practice, like, we can all do that. But yeah, you have to just go out and meet people and like, and what I started doing was like, I think I still now, I still just go and see a gig. If there's a gig that I feel like might be something I'd want to check out, I pretty much always go. And just, then you're part of the community, and there is a community in it. And it's like, once I started realizing I was becoming part of that, I was like, oh, wow, this is sustainable, rather than like, okay, I can do this anywhere in the world, but then like, for what reason,
Yeah. So did you ended up deciding to stay in New York, or you split your time? What?
I live in New York, and like I spend, I pay rent, so I spend my time here. But I do a lot of touring, and I go back quite regularly to kind of like do a tour, do some gigs. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm essentially based here. So
you're based out of New York now.
Yeah.
Before I forget, you did mention talking about studying with Ingrid, that she gave you lots of advice. Can you share some of maybe the more meaningful advice that she had given you?
Yeah, I mean, so much, so much. I mean, the main thing that I took away from having lessons with her was just like the approach to actually like playing the instrument, I think the first thing she ever said in a lesson was like, okay, trumpet isn't supposed to be hard, like it should be easy. And I was like, what? No, it's not, it's really hard. But she's very everything. I'm sure you probably know a lot about this because she's such a great figure and for everyone, but yeah, so much stuff just to do with the body. And like I would be like playing, and then she would just like move my shoulder, and I'm like, oh yeah, now I can play. It's easy to kind of like think that, but once you start really tapping into like, oh, what am I doing? Like, what am I? Because I feel like there's always something that you're kind of clenching or holding, and if you can just be fully relaxed and like take the breath that you need to take, yeah, it was just like having a sort of guru in the room. Like, she would watch me and then just kind of move me around.
So it's even more than just playing changes.
Oh like, god, yeah.
Body awareness and trumpet, and well, I mean, she's close with Dave Monette, and Monette, his credit is done a lot
Definitely.
for body awareness and the posture and body mechanics of playing an instrument. So yeah, that's great to get that passed down to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely eye opening, and also like just realizing how much we do as trumpet players that we don't need to be doing, and it's just getting in the way, And she even like there was so many things I realized I never even thought about, but just like my embouchure, I was like, I was never thinking about what I was doing, I was just doing it, and then she was like, yeah, if you, like, this is so obvious, like everyone knows. It was like, you need to have these muscles like engaged literally all the time. I was like, oh yeah. Like, because like sometimes I wouldn't, and then you get tired, and that was a really cool thing. Yeah, it's all coming back. There's all things I do now, it's like habits,
Would she give you exercises for that, like strengthening the corners, or just make you aware of them?
Yeah, she would tell me to say the word ear, so I go ear with an American accent, and then I would do that, and then and then I still do that, and then there's another one. Maybe I'm giving away all her secrets, but I don't think so. Taking a deep breath, just say the word Hawaii when you breathe in, like, and then you can get like loads of air. That was a really cool one. And if you're like, I still do this now and it works. It's like if I'm on a gig and like starting to feel fatigue, rather than kind of like doing this, just she would just go like ooh. And then it's because it's like the opposite of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it really helps,
bringing things forward.
So, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Trumpet tips.
I mean, there's a few things that I do, yeah.
I want to talk about some of your current projects. I mean, you released a EP, a duo, correct, with you and guitar?
Yes.
That was a few years ago.
That was during the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, but you're also, you're working on your own, your debut album, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've been saying I've been working on for a long time. But
well, it's on the internet now, so
yeah,
now you have to commit to it.
It is.
Is it still in the works, or where are we on that?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I actually recorded an album a little while ago that I never put out. I probably will at some point. I just wasn't 100% like. It's mostly the sound. Like, I recorded it with everyone in the same room, and I'm kind of like, I wish I didn't do that. But I'm planning on recording at some point this year, probably at the end of the year. I'm about to go do some gigs with. I basically kind of formed a band now. It's really hard in New York to settle on a band because everyone's so good. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm pretty confident in the band, and we're gonna go on tour in Europe in November, and the plan is to record directly after the tour when we sound really good together. So yeah, that's the plan. They don't even know it yet, so
well, they're on notice now.
It's gonna be yeah, I mean, I think they know to some extent. But yeah, we're going on tour. That's all confirmed. Like, the tour is happening in Europe, mostly in the UK. Mm-hmm. And we have some gigs in New York. We're playing at the Jazz Gallery, actually, it's a half Dave Douglas's project and then half my band. And Dave Adewumi is doing the same thing on a different day. So
what cool. Fun. And a perfect segue, because I also want to talk about this project you have with the two Davids, Dave Douglas and David Adewumi.
Yeah.
First of all, how did you get connected with those fine players, and how did this project come about?
I'm trying to think how I met Dave Douglas. I think he came into the Royal Academy when I was a student there. But he actually asked me about 3 years ago for the Festival of New Trumpet Music, which he curates, to bring a band. And I did that 3 years ago. And then, I guess I kind of got to know him a little better, and he's heard me play and stuff. So yeah, he would probably know better than I'm like, I don't know how he found me.
Yeah, like I'd mentioned, there both Davids are going to be future guests on here. They both confirmed. So we'll certainly talk to Dave more, Douglas more about his project. Yeah. But can you tell me a little bit about what your part is in it? I mean, what kind of music is it? And
so it's a 3-trumpet thing with a rhythm section, and it's mostly a lot of openness, so a lot of free sections, but it's Dave Douglas's compositions, some new ones and some stuff he's done before. I think we did a monk tune in there, but we did the monk tune in every key, sort of ascending. It's pretty. There's a lot going on. And yeah, I guess us 3 trumpet players, we either play together or we take it in turns to sort of have the spotlight. It's very open, so it's not too strict. Okay, you play this one, you play this one. It's amazing. It's so cool being on a small band project, but with 3 trumpet players. It's very cool, and those two both very, very inspiring trumpet players for me. I obviously Dave Douglas, like, I've listened to his music and checked out him over the years, and Dave Adewumi is a very good friend of mine, who I also, anytime he has a gig, I'm gonna go and see it, and he's one of the best young trumpet players around. So yeah, for me it's like I'm in heaven. I can keep continuously be inspired by what they're playing, and yeah, we play a lot together and then we come apart. It's kind of that kind of thing. Yeah.
What fun. And it's already recorded, right? So I think I think Dave said it's coming out later this summer. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We recorded in January. Yeah.
We'll get the information for that and make sure it's in the description and everything, so folks can find out about it when it's released. And for that recording, were you guys all was it all at the same time? Were you guys in the room together, or was it?
All the trumpets were in the room, and then the rhythm section, we could all see each other, but they were isolated. Yeah, that was a crazy day for me because I had norovirus, and it was the end of. I was like on the end of it, so I hadn't eaten anything for 4 days. So I have no idea what I sound like. Insane, like so weird. Little fun fact for you there. Yeah, it was. I can barely remember that recording, to be honest.
I love it. I love it. Any other projects you have? I know you're playing with your as a side person on a lot of projects, and you said you're touring later in the fall in Europe. Any other projects you want to let us know about?
Various things. I mean, I'm leading my band in New York for a couple of gigs, and then I'm doing another band. I'm trying to think. I'm playing in Europe with a trio with a drummer Quinton and bass player Freddie, and we're doing a few gigs around Europe. I'm going to be traveling a lot this summer, but we're playing at this cool festival in Austria called the Outreach Festival, and that's my first time playing there, so I'm excited for that. And that's a trio that it's kind of like we've all played together, but we're getting a trio together for some gigs around Europe. Freddie lives in the UK and Quinton lives in New York, so it's going to be a nice combination.
What fun! What fun! And you have you post your tour dates and things on your website.
I try to be on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do my best.
Another thing we'll have make sure everyone can get to in the description. We're almost out of time here. I want a couple geeky questions, if you'll allow me, because it is a trumpet podcast. You'd mentioned you still kind of stick to a classical warm-up routine. Can you kind of give us the synopsis of what you do? Is it religious, like every day, the same kind of thing? Do you mix it up?
I pretty much do the Caruso 6 notes. I do 6 notes every day. Do I need to explain what that is? I feel like everyone.
Some folks have done the Caruso. We've had like Chuck Finley's talk about it, but if you could just do your version of it.
Yeah. So the 6 notes is just it's like you play G 3 times and you go up to chromatically up to so middle G up to a C. You play the note 3 times. You don't take it off your face when you're doing this. That's the whole point. And then you go back to a G and repeat the exercise.
But it's like a long tone, like isometric, correct?
Yeah, I do that
yeah.
for sure every day. I do that every day, and I buzz on the mouthpiece. I think it's the stamp 1 and 2. And I do some free buzzing every day. I do some breathing exercises every day. And so usually I'll do like more of the Caruso routine. So I'll do that. That's like my go-to. Sometimes if I need a change, I always try and do a bit of everything. So some Clark's studies, get the fingers going. I just like interject different things. I'm sure all trumpet players do this, but a little bit of flexus for flexibilities, a little bit of arbans for articulation. There's so many more things I'm trying to and I do it every day, you know.
But it sounds like that like the stamp, the Caruso is pretty much your regular stuff, and then you have your bag of tricks that you'll
basically
keep things fresh, or depending on what you want to work on.
Just try and do try and cover every little thing, so I'm not like, my tongue isn't working, you know. Like everything's got to be working. And if I have a day where I don't have a gig, then I'll like get deeper into it. But like most days I have a gig, so I kind of like try and cover everything, and then I probably have to work on someone's very hard original music for the rest of the day. You know, that's what it's been like at the moment. Like, yeah.
Love it. And then and equipment. What do you use? Trumpet, flugelhorn, mouthpieces.
Yeah. So I have a Monet. It's like the new. I think it's called. Is it called Resonance? The new Monet mouthpiece.
I think so. I should know that.
I should know.
Yeah,
it's my mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And I think it's the B4. Mm-hmm. It's quite big, I think. I'm terrible with this. And then my trumpet is a Bach Mount Vernon, which I got like a year and a half ago. I really like it. My flugel is a Yamaha custom Wayne Bergeron, which is actually really good.
It's a fun horn. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a Warburton mouthpiece. I'm not sure the size. And that's everything.
And any favorite mutes that you use?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I mean, I'm very lazy. I don't like carrying stuff. So
I always ask the jazz players, I have this Harmon that I got from 1936, or something like that. So sometimes. But,
I'll get there. I'll be that person one day. I'm just not there yet. Like, I talked to other trumpet players. I'm like, I don't really know what mouthpiece I have. It just felt good in the shop, and then I got it. But I'll get into it one day. I'll get there.
Yeah, you know, if it ain't broke,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
don't fix
Yeah.
it. I love it. Well, Alex, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Maybe we'll get to meet in person one of these times.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Next time I get out to New York City, or maybe I'll catch you. Any excuse to go to Europe. Maybe I'll catch you at one of your festivals.
That would be great. Yeah. Why not?
How can folks find out more about you? The website? Do you do social media, YouTube, anything like that you want to plug? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. My website is just Alexandra Ridout. If you just put my name in, it will come up. Okay. I'm pretty good I'm getting better at putting all my gigs up there. So that's probably the best. I have Instagram, Alexandra Ridout. Yeah, that's what I'm using mostly.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll get these. So if people don't want to write them down, they can just click on the links on the show notes and the description and all that magical stuff we can do these days.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, absolute honor having you on. Before I let you go, Alex, if you could leave our listeners with one last piece of advice, you've given us a lot so far, but the piece of advice that you would consider your best piece of advice, what would that be?
For trumpet players, I think just relax, you know? Like, don't take anything too seriously. Like, take the music seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. I know people say that, but I think trumpet players, you know, we get in our head about stuff and then you just can't play the trumpet anymore. So, yeah, just take the music seriously. Like, you know, love the music, but just relax and don't take yourself too seriously. Yeah.
Just relax. I love it. Yeah, I think a lot of us need to hear that.
I'm pretty relaxed.
Thank you for joining us on the other side of the bell, Alex. Great to have you on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
What a refreshing interview that was with Alexandra. Really amazing talking to her. And to be honest, you know, I always get nervous talking to someone that young. Only because not that they don't have anything to say, but they don't have the context that someone at the end of their career might have. And obviously you can tell why she's so successful. She's so thoughtful and so mature for her age, in terms of how she's thinking about music and her career and the business side of things, and all the pieces that fit together to make a successful career as a trumpeter, as a composer, as a band leader, etc. So I'm so glad to bring her interview to you, and a huge thank you to Dave Douglas and others for putting her on my radar. And she gave me a few tips. I talked to her the week before I was leaving to go to Europe, to go to London, and having grown up here. So Alex, thank you not only for a wonderful interview, but also for the great tips before getting here to London. All of the links to Alexandra's website and social media will be down in the description and on the show notes page for this episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that 5-star review button. And I'm getting lots, and I'm so grateful for this. Lots of tips. In fact, Alexandra was one of those. A lot of guests that you want to see on this podcast. So keep them coming. Even better if you know the person and you can send me their contact information. But even if not, you know, I have my ways to get around and to reach out to people. So, of course, you can send those to John, JOHN, at bobreeves.com. If you can't remember my name, that's okay. You can also just send it to info@bobreeves.com, and we will add those guests to our contact list. Another thing to mention, since it is summer and we're traveling and my podcast producer is traveling, we may not be posting every 2 weeks like we have been mostly this year. So even more important to hit that subscribe button, because then you'll know as soon as an episode hits, because it'll download automatically. And of course, if you watch these on YouTube, that's where that subscribe and hitting the notification button will let you know as well on that platform. Thank you so much for listening. Really means a lot to me. Keep those emails coming. And if I see you at an in-store event or at an exhibition, please come up and say hello. Even if you don't want to buy a mouthpiece or do a valve alignment, it means the world to me to hear and meet my listeners. There was plenty of those in Sweden, and plenty of you came up to me at the Atom Fest in Clarksville. So thank you. It really does mean a lot. Till next time, let's go out and make some music.